So, you just finished watching Push on Shudder, and you're probably still trying to process everything that went down, right? I mean, let's be honest, this movie wasn't just your typical haunted house slasher flick. It started out like one, sure, but by the end, it was spiraling into psychological terror, supernatural mystery, and a whole lot of bloody survival. And just when you thought it was over, bam, post-credit scene. Yeah, we're talking about that final shot too. Welcome back to your nerdy show. I'm your host, Spoiler Master. Let's break it all down. What happened to Natalie, who the client really was, and what that haunting post-credit scene might actually mean. Natalie's tragic beginning. At the heart of Push is Natalie, who just moved from Barcelona to the US with her boyfriend. But as soon as the film opens, tragedy strikes. Her boyfriend dies in an accident. And just like that, Natalie is alone, in a foreign country, pregnant, and trying to rebuild her life. She picks herself up and throws herself into work. She's a realtor, and she's desperate to make her next sale. The pressure is real. She's not just fighting for commission, she's fighting for her future and for the baby growing inside her. She's assigned to sell this creepy old 1890s mansion that, of course, comes with a whole load of spooky stories. But Natalie, she doesn't buy into that. She just sees an opportunity.
How'd you hear about us?
Saw a sign at the end of the turnpike.
Enter the client. So she shows up for the open house, and it's a no-show. No buyers, no visitors, just silence. That is, until someone knocks. She opens the door. No one's there. Classic. But when she turns around, there he is, the client, just standing in the hallway like he owns the place. Creepy? Absolutely. But Natalie's desperate to close the sale, so she gives him the tour. She tries to play it cool, even though this guy is setting off every red flag. He doesn't talk much. He touches things. He seems to know the house. And then he casually mentions sensing the presence of the previous owners who were murdered on the property. Wait, what? Yeah, this guy clearly isn't just your average buyer, but things take a darker turn when he somehow knows no one else showed up for the open house, something only Natalie should know. That's when she knows something's really off. Natalie decides to leave, but her car won't start. Coincidence? Not likely. She calls a mechanic named Guy. He shows up, but there's another creepy moment. He says he tried to call her earlier, and she confirms she got a call, but all she heard was breathing, no voice. Guy checks out the car and suspects tampering. Someone didn't want that car to move. And then, things escalate fast. Natalie steps away, and when she returns, Guy is missing. She finds him murdered inside the house. Now it's crystal clear. The client isn't just weird. He's dangerous. He's not leaving. And he wants something very specific, her unborn child. Natalie fights to survive. At this point, Push shifts into pure survival horror. Natalie is being hunted through the house. She doesn't know why. She doesn't know who this man really is, but she knows she has to stay alive for her baby. And then her water breaks. If the stakes weren't already sky high, they are now. She's going into labor while being stalked by a maniac. She tries to escape, finds out the client has been sabotaging everything. He even collected all the open house posters so no one else would show up that day. She finds a dead woman's body in the trunk of his car. Still, she doesn't stop. Even with a twisted ankle and a piece of glass in her foot, she keeps going. She restores the phone line, calls emergency services, and then lures the client into a room and attacks him. They both fall out of a window. They survive. Somehow, she's barely holding on, but just when she collapses, 2 police officers arrive. For a second, it seems like help has finally come, until she realizes they've both been killed too. The client isn't human, or at least not fully. He keeps going like nothing can stop him. Natalie gives birth and fights back again. Natalie, now in labor, hides in a small storeroom in the backyard, alone, bleeding. in agony, but she gives birth, completely alone, pulls the baby out, cuts the umbilical cord with her teeth, delivers the placenta. It's brutal and raw and powerful. Then the client finds her, but she's already gone. He enters the room and finds nothing until she appears behind him, holding a shotgun. She shoots. The recoil knocks her to the ground. She's unconscious, but she did it, right?
Your son, he's in ICU under observation.
Who was the client? At the hospital, Natalie wakes up. Her baby is alive, under care, but alive. The cops question her. They ask her to confirm the man who attacked her. Yes, it's him. The client survived, again. And here's where the movie throws us another curveball. The man claimed to be Gabriel Marquez, the son of the mansion's original owners, born in 1929. Wait, what? That would make him nearly 100 years old. But the man looks 40, max. He had burned off his fingerprints, making identification almost impossible. DNA tests? Nothing. He's officially a John Doe. Gabriel, or whoever he really is, said the house called to him, that he couldn't die while it still stood, whether it was delusion or something far darker. It wasn't over yet.
What is happening?
Hey, everything's okay, ma'am.
I need to get my baby.
The final attack. Here's where Natalie makes a terrifying choice. She knows he's still a threat. As long as he's alive, her son will never be safe. So she sneaks into his hospital room with a stolen scalpel, but it's already too late. The guards are dead. Again, the client is already on the move. He finds her, tries to kill her, and that's when Natalie snaps. She grabs the scalpel and stabs him, over and over and over. There's no finesse, no dramatic one-liner, just rage, fear, survival. She kills him, this time for real. Or so we thought. Push's post-credit scene explained, because then we get that post-credit scene. We see the client's body lying in the hospital morgue, still, silent, dead. Then, flickering lights, at the hospital, at the mansion, and then he opens his eyes, gasps for air. He's alive, again. So what does this mean? It means we're not dealing with an ordinary killer. There's clearly a supernatural element here. Gabriel, or the man who believed he was Gabriel, can't die. Or maybe he already did, and something brought him back. Was the client really Gabriel Marquez? There's one theory that kind of explains the madness. Maybe this man wasn't Gabriel, but someone obsessed with him. Someone who had visited the house as a child, discovered its dark secrets, and connected with Gabriel's spirit. Maybe Gabriel was murdered by his parents. Maybe his soul never left. And maybe this man became the vessel, possessed, controlled, or aided by Gabriel's ghost. The guy talked like he knew every inch of the mansion, and he bled like a human. But the way he survived every attack, even a shotgun blast, makes it clear something else is keeping him alive. And if Gabriel was possessing him, then maybe Natalie didn't just stab a man to death, she stabbed a host. What Push is really about? Will there be a sequel? What makes Push stand out is how it strips away the final girl tropes and gives us a story that's painfully human, but also terrifyingly unreal. Natalie isn't just running from a killer, she's fighting against fate, trauma, and a past that doesn't even belong to her. And in the middle of all that, she's becoming a mother. She's not just surviving for herself, she's fighting for a future, her child's future. And maybe that's what makes the ending so haunting. Even after all that bloodshed, all that pain, and all those near-death moments, it's not really over. That post-credit scene sure makes it feel like we're getting a Push 2, right? There's still so much we don't know. Who was Gabriel really? Why is the house so important? What kind of force keeps bringing the client back? If there's one thing horror fans know, it's that if the villain opens their eyes in the morgue, we're not done yet. Our nerdy thoughts. So, what did you think of Push? Do you believe the client was possessed? Was he immortal, or was the house itself alive and controlling everything? Let us know your theories in the comments. And if you enjoyed the breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss what happens if Push 2 comes knocking. Until next time, lock your doors, trust your instincts, and stay far away from haunted real estate.
No, what the heck, I'll laugh anyway.